to the book of Genesis.
Genesis.
And as we go there, let us look at chapter number 6. And how ironic, now that I think about it, this text and this message is according to the things that we have going on in our lives today.
Mm-hmm.
We're looking at Genesis, the 6th chapter, starting with verse number 1. That's Genesis, the 6th chapter, verse number 1. And you will see these words are something very similar.
Mm-hmm.
Now it came to pass when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born to them, that the sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they were beautiful, and they took wives for themselves of all whom they chose. And the Lord said, My spirit shall not strive with man forever, for he is indeed flesh. Yet his days shall be 120 years. Verse 4 tells us, there were giants on the earth in those days. And also afterward, when the sons of God came into the daughters of men, and they bore children to them, those were the mighty men who were of old, men of renown. Then the Lord saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every intent of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. And the Lord was sorry that he had made man on the earth, and he was grieved in his heart. So the Lord said, I will destroy man whom I have created from the face of the earth, both man and beast, creeping things and birds of the air. For I am sorry that I have made them. But Noah, somebody say, but Noah.
But Noah.
But Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord. And this morning, I want to preach from the subject, resetting to factory setting.
All right.
All right.
Resetting to factory setting. Just like humans, computers have problems. And I'm just so glad that I live with someone who knows a thing or two about solving problems dealing with computers. But the Lord knows I've had some computer issues before in my life. I remember one of the very first questions that Tisa asked me when we first started seeing each other was, did I pay my bills online? I don't know how this question just happened to come up. We was talking about something, but she asked me, did I pay my bills online? And I said, of course I do. But we were talking about two different things. At the time, I didn't know how fluent she was in computer technology, and I was just thinking, if you go to the site and you pay it online, you paid it online, but she was talking about bill pay and all these other things, and I wasn't that advanced yet. But the Lord knew, and the Lord knows I have computer issues, and you know, they range from so many things. You know, I'll call her, ask her, and other people also, but my power button won't start my computer. Or I might say something like, man, what's wrong with my computer? My applications are running slow. This thing frozen. You ever had your computer just freeze up and you don't know what's going on with it? The mouse or the keyboard ain't working. Something wrong with the sound on this thing. I can't hear my speakers. The screen just goes blank. I remember once, I think it was either the PlayStations or whatever one of those games were, and they had a thing called the Circle of Death. When you see that circle on your thing, you know it's messed up then. You know you're not going to get you a new. But one thing that stand out to me that was really funny, I used to have an iPod a long time ago. And that iPod, I had one of them old school iPods. It wasn't old school then, but I had one who was supposed to be one of the best iPods that could hold 1,000 songs. 1,000 songs. And I would get mad because my iPod would be full and I only had like 100 or 200 at most songs. I said, something wrong with this thing. So Tisa, she looked at it and she was like, okay, I see what's wrong. She said, when it said 1,000 songs, it's talking about songs that are about like 3 minutes in length. You got all these come to Jesus songs on here that's 10 and 15 minutes. You know, songs like We Offer Christ to You, and you know how gospel music do the remix, and they song 20 minutes. You think the song we just played about 20 minutes long. You know, so when you got songs that long, they ain't talking about those kind of songs that makes up the 1,000. So that's when I started learning about gigs and megabytes and all that stuff there. But it was just so interesting. I was just so confused. Why I don't pay a couple $100 for this iPod because it said hold 1,000 songs and mine kept getting filled up. Many of you probably already know about all these computer problems and how to solve them, and you know, y'all already know all this stuff, but you know, it took me a while to figure it out, so I had to find out some things. And just because I'm getting ready to share this with you don't mean that I don't need teachers to fix my computers anymore, because it's just stuff I learned. But I still need people like that to fix stuff when things happen. But the first thing I found out was when there's a problem with your computer, you must troubleshoot it. Somebody say troubleshoot.
Troubleshoot.
We must troubleshoot it. There are many different things that could cause a problem with our computer. No matter what's causing the issue, troubleshooting will always be the first thing you do. It's a process of trial and error. You know, I used to think computer people were so smart, but I didn't know that they had this thing. They start out troubleshooting with a process of trial and error. And there are different approaches that they use, and there are different approaches that we must use to be able to figure out what's wrong with our computers. And I want to use the computer in parallel with us as humans.
All right.
The problems that computers have, just like us, can sometimes be a quick fix, or it could be something that requires a lot of attention. But when you're troubleshooting, what you want to do is you want to write down the steps that you're going through in trying to solve the problem. It's like a science project. For those who get on these fitness goals and you have to log your meals, you know, you have to write down what you eat. Because they say if you write down what you eat, chance up when you look back over, you're like, oh man, no wonder I'm gaining weight. No wonder I can, you know, when you start writing down. So what you want to do, you want to write down your steps. You want to write down your steps. You want to write down each step you take. This way you'll be able to remember exactly what you have done, and you can avoid repeating the same mistakes. You know, I've been sharing with teachers so often lately. I got my yearly physical coming up. And here it is, I'm already looking past the physical. I've been doing good this year. You know, I cut sugar out my diet and did all that stuff so I can make sure I have perfect numbers when I go to the doctor. But do you know I'm already looking past the physical so I can go get me some donuts? I said, you know, it's been a year since I've had some donuts that well, maybe not a year, but I've really been good. So I'm already looking forward to doing something I shouldn't be doing, because I know I got a whole another year to make up for it. But it's just something about when you write down the steps, you realize, man, no wonder this is going wrong. No wonder this is happening. So you want to write down each step so we can avoid repeating the same mistakes. And if you end up asking some people for help, it will be a lot easier to know exactly what you have already tried. When you look at the computer and something wrong, take notes of the error message. A lot of times, with something wrong with this thing, and that's all we tell the person. Something wrong. It don't work. It's broke. And there's this big old error message with some letters and numbers that we didn't pay attention to. If we were to just write that down and give it to the person, they might be able to fix it just by that error message. Because a lot of times there are certain error messages that come up that's so common that most people know as soon as they hear the error message. Do you know our lives are like that also? When we have certain problems in our life, if you were to tell somebody, oh, I already know about that, let me tell you, this is what you need to do to fix it. We have certain error messages as humans that's so popular that it's easy to fix. You may be able to use this information when you write it down. You know, there are certain things I learned about teaching that you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You know, it's something about this. This is a new tool that I learned that's just so fascinating that people would be surprised to know that I use it as much as I use. And it's called copy and paste. Control C and then Control V. People think I be writing all these great responses to these stuff. No, I've learned to, when I got good responses, I put it on a list so I can just go back to it. So people used to call in the office and ask me how to solve certain problems. I'll pull up my little problem sheet and Control C, Control V and send it to them, or copy it and paste, send it to them. So it's something about error messages and something to learn how to deal with certain things. Another thing you must learn how to do is once you start troubleshooting, there are certain things you look for in fixing a computer.
Okay.
So you look for the error messages. You start writing down things that you've already done. One of the first things they tell you to do is check the cables and the connections. Check the cables and the connections. The computer ain't working. That's what we do. We mad because we working, or we mad because we need check the cables. And first thing we're gonna say, we're gonna probably lie. I already did it. No, you ain't. You just want them to fix it. You just want them to solve it. But anyway, you'll do it reluctantly, so you go check the cables and the connections. I thought that's interesting too. The cables and the connections. When something is wrong with us, why don't we think to check our connections? Who we been with lately? Who we been around? What are we doing? You know, so check the cables and like I said, I want this to be like a parallel. I want you to be able to see computers in relation to us as humans.
Yeah.
So check the cables and connections. If we're having trouble with a specific piece of computer hardware, like the monitor or the keyboard, that's an easy first check. You know, you go to the doctor, what's wrong? My head hurt. That's easy. Okay, they give you some pills or some medicine, or they want to know what you've been eating. You know, your hardware, those are kind of easy fixes, your keyboard. But all those are usually related to your connection, your cables. A lot of times I've had computer problems to find out that the cable has fell out the back of it where the monitor was connected to the keyboard or something. Maybe I moved it a little bit too much or I adjusted or something, but a lot of times even with the TVs, you know, all the TVs are computers now. Something wrong with it, the cable, check the cable, shake it. You know, these HD cables they have now. Every time something go wrong with our sound or something, check the HDMI cables. And then if that don't work, after you're gonna check the hardware, the monitor, keyboard, and all that stuff, restart the computer. They always tell you to reboot it.
Right.
When all else fail, reboot. Because restarting the computer, a lot of times it gives you opportunity to refresh it and it gets, you know, maybe something happened or something like that, we don't know. But a lot of times just restarting something, it's almost like just this morning, I was looking for I'm like, what in the world? I'm too young to be having senior moments. But I'm like, what in the world, my glasses? And that's the reason I left for a few minutes and went out, I was looking for my glasses. And I said, boy, please don't let them be on my face. You know, that's embarrassing, you know, if you're looking for your glasses and they're on your face. But anyway, I was looking and I went all the other places. I said, okay, let me start over. What was the last place I remember having them at? And true enough, that's where they were. So restarting. You know, when you're looking for something, you have to restart and find out where, restart from the beginning. I had this boss when I used to work with the bank years ago named Cant. Cant, rest in peace. People say rest in heaven, rest in hell. I don't know where people go. I just say rest in peace. But anyway, Cant, he had this thing on how you find stuff that you misplace or lose. He said, look where it's supposed to be. And if it ain't there, look where it's not supposed to be.
Yeah.
And if it's not there, repeat the steps until you find it. And chances are you will find it. You know, go back and forth. Where it's supposed to be, where it's not supposed to be, where it's supposed to be. And it's amazing how when you drop something, how far it can roll from where you heard the sound. So restarting is a great way to fix a computer. Restarting is a great way to fix yourself as a human. You know, if something is off kilter in your body, if something is going on in your personality, or something's going on in your personal life, go back to the beginning. Wait a minute, when did this start happening? It started happening when you went out with a friend, your old high school buddy you ain't seen in a long time. Y'all just started out with 2 beers. And they think, now you on tequila shots and you want to know why you got a headache and why you can't go to work the next day. It started when we went out to lunch. So go back to the beginning and restart. And when you go back to the beginning and restart, you're able to start tracing your steps and find out what is wrong. And make a list of the things that cause a problem so you'll know how to avoid them later on in your life.
That's it.
And if restarting didn't work and didn't get the job done, it's time to re-image your computer, which is resetting it back to company settings. That completely wipes all information off your computer. It wipes everything off your phones. It wipes everything off your tablet. And if you like me, there have been times I've done that on mistake. I was, so, trying not to ask questions. Something was wrong with my phone or something one day, and I'm trying to fix it. And next thing I know, I don't erase everything. No phone numbers, no contacts, no apps, no everything. And then I want to come, something wrong with my phone. This thing broke, It's just crazy how you do things. But when you reset to factory settings, it's like brand new.
Yep.
It's like you have got a brand new computer, you got a brand new phone, and I'm just so amazed. Resetting to factory settings is different from restarting and rebooting, because when you restart and reboot, everything still comes back up once it gets going. But when you reset to factory settings, everything you had is gone. And how you reset is this. And I'm pretty sure some of you already know this is probably elementary to y'all, but to reset to factory settings, this is what you do. You go into settings, then you go into general, then reset, erase all content and settings, and boom, you all done, brand new. I just certified you all as computer analysts. Y'all going to get $300,000 a year jobs now. Because if you just know how to do that, you can be a computer repair technician. I'm amazed that when I was with the Department of Revenue, whenever something happened on our computer, there was a guy named Benny. He would come and, I guess Benny, that was his site, our office. But Benny would come out and he would look at the computer, He would go through the little test and everything. He said, I need you to come and save everything on the computer. I'm like, why? He said, because I need to take it with me. So what Benny was telling us was he would take our computer and he was going to re-image it and bring it back. That's when he told us to save everything on our computer that we thought was important. I thought, And we found out, as I found out more about computers, I said, well, Ben got one of the easiest jobs out here, making $200,000 a year. Because the only thing he would do, he didn't fix the computer. He just went to his office and re-imaged it and went probably played golf or went to lunch and stuff like that. He come back and the computer all fixed. And we thinking, oh, wow. So he didn't go through all the, maybe he did, but we didn't see because he always take it. If he would have stayed in our office and did it, it would have been different seeing him going through all this stuff. But do you know when people are going through their processes, you don't get to see it? You don't get to see how a person came from over here to over here. You don't know the troubles they had. We see people who are successful and we just think they were always successful. You didn't see the struggles they went through. You didn't see the trial and errors. You look at people like T.I. and Hova and all these guys who are so successful. You don't know the struggles they went through, the processes, the trials and errors, and how many times they had to start over, how many times people told them they weren't going to make it. You don't know all this stuff. So I don't know what all Benny had to go through to fix the computer, but I know when it came back, he said, you're like brand new now. He said, anything that you saved, you can put it back on there. I was like, wow. So what was interesting was he never asked what caused it. Like some people I know, but he never asked, but it was interesting because when people who fix computers, they pretty much know what you did. Yeah. Chances are when something is wrong with the computer, we call it. They call that operator failure, operator error. Am I right? Am I right about it? They call it operator error.
You're right.
So it's so interesting that usually what causes computers to mess up not the cables, not the hardware, monitor, stuff like that, but usually it's a virus. It's a virus. And what happens and how you get virus is going somewhere you shouldn't have went. Doing something you shouldn't have done. And if you do it enough, it just come and take over the computer, take over your phone, and next thing you know, why this thing so slow, and why this thing, I didn't even touch that button, how that button move on its own, all this stuff cause you did something you shouldn't have done to the computer. In our text, we see the story of Noah, where God has already went through the troubleshooting process with human beings. And God has checked the hardware, He checked the monitors, He checked the cables, He looked at everything. He said, humans are full of viruses. Malware done got in, they came in the back door with the Trojan horse and all these other things. That virus there, you might say, that thing done destroyed your computer. So all this stuff had happened and God looked at humankind and said, you know what? Self, It's time to reset humans to factory setting.
That's it.
Yeah.
So he saw Noah, and he told Noah, it's time to reset to factory settings. In other words, what God said, according to Genesis in the 6th chapter, especially verses 9 through 22, that it's time to fix what is wrong with humans. Noah, as a father, tried to lead his family to God through being faithful to God. Noah tried, y'all.
Yeah,
He was faithful. The Bible said he was faithful. But the world he lived in was filled with evil. And you know, it's hard trying to be faithful in an evil society.
Yeah,
Tisa and I, we joke a lot about an interview she heard, and I think it was Kirk Franklin. He said, you know, it's hard when you get saved, because he's in the music industry. He said, you get saved, but the producer didn't get saved. You get saved, but the record label didn't get saved. You know, so you get saved and all your friends are still evil. You get saved and your family ain't saved. You get saved and your coworkers ain't saved. Do you know how hard it is to be saved at work? It's hard being saved at work because work will test you. Work will do troubleshooting on you to see if you're really saved. Work will do some stuff, and it's amazing how work is the place that really troubleshoot. That's when people need to work in places that they're not that fond of, because it tests you to prove to yourself that you are being tried by the fire. But anyway, the Bible says that Noah was faithful, but he lived in an evil world. And Genesis 6 and 5 said, then the Lord saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every intent of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. I think it was either yesterday or Friday. Tisa asked, she said, so how did you define wickedness? What's your definition of wickedness? And I said, no, she's asking what was my definition of evil. And I said, consistent wickedness. Maybe she asked me what was wickedness, and I said consistent evil. But anyway, it was one of the two. But it's living in, and it's your lifestyle. Yeah. Because we all go make some mistakes. We all go make some bad errors every now and then. But when it's your life, and that's all you do is wickedness, and even everything you think about is evil, everything you think about is wickedness, you're always trying to think of how to get over, how to do wrong, how to take, how to destroy, then God has a problem with that.
Yeah.
So the Bible says that his world was filled with corruption.
Jesus.
Now the earth was corrupt in God's sight, and the earth was filled with violence. And God saw the earth, and behold, it was corrupt, for all flesh had corrupted the way on earth. He didn't say some, he said all. Noah's community was full of violence, so much so that God said in his own words, and the Lord was sorry that he had made man on the earth. And he was grieved in his heart. I don't want to ever have to feel like that toward my children or anybody I know, but can you imagine feeling that way toward your children? You're just so sorry that you gave birth to that child that you wish that you would have did something to prevent it from coming?
Help us.
God said he was sorry that he had made man on earth. Can you imagine how violent and wicked the world had to have been for God to say, I'm so sorry? Especially knowing earlier, say we're in Genesis 6 chapter, so especially knowing early in 1 and 2 how God was talking about how great man was.
Yeah.
Can you imagine thinking, I got the greatest child in the world, only for your child to grow up to be a knucklehead and just disappoint you all throughout life? God said that he was sorry that he made man on earth. For those of y'all who have read in Luke in the 17th chapter, y'all know, so y'all probably know this, starting with verse 26, it said, and just as it happened in the days of Noah, so it shall be also in the days of the Son of Man. They were eating, they were drinking, they were getting married, they were being given in marriage until the day that Noah entered the ark and the flood came and destroyed them all. They were having a good time. They were living life, best life. They were popping bottles and popping caps and probably doing everything up under the sun, having a good time. In verse 28 of the 17th chapter, it says, it was the same as happened in the days of Lot. So it's amazing how ain't nothing new under the sun. It said it was the same as that happened in the days of Lot. They were eating. They were drinking. They were buying, they were selling, they were planting, they were building. So the same thing they were doing in the days of Noah was the same thing they were doing in the days of Lot. But on that day, Lot went out from Sodom. It rained fire and brimstone from heaven and destroyed them all. So just like God did with Lot, rain and fire and brimstone, he did with Noah through the flood. What are we doing today? We're eating, we're drinking, buying, selling, building, and planting.
Come on.
The Son of Man is soon to come. The 30th verse said it will be the same, just the same on the day that the Son of Man is revealed. That means Jesus can return today. Jesus could return before we finish worship.
Yeah.
Because we're doing the same thing they were doing just then. Back then they were singing, dancing, playing, having a good time, full of wit. I don't even have to do a roll call on what's going on. You know, I'll just give you one, and y'all, I'm sure all of y'all have heard about this story about this white police officer who killed the black guy, and how after the court, Christians got mad at them for displaying Christian tendencies by hugging and forgiving and all this stuff. And whatever side of the coin you own, that's up to you and between you and your God. But it's just amazing how there's just so much going on today, just like it was back then. But I see something. And what I see is there are two different groups of people in the last days. And it's no secret, because we all heard of the sheep and the goat, the good and the bad, you know, we know that there's always going to be some separation between two different groups. You know, we might have a lot of subgroups and all this stuff, but there are two groups: hot and cold. Hot and cold. Revelation 3 in the 15th and 16th verse, it tells us this: I know thy works, that thou art neither hot, cold, nor hot. I will thou work cold or hot. So then, because thou art lukewarm, and neither cold nor hot, I will spew thee out of my mouth. What that tells me is God hates people in the middle.
All in.
God hates people in the middle. God rather you make an A or make an F. So God don't like B, C, and D students. He wants you in or he wants you out. He wants you to either pass or fail. Ain't no in between. Either you will or you won't. Either yes or no, ain't no maybe, or I'll try, or let me see. God, he wants you hot or cold.
Yeah.
That's a hard pill to swallow. Because a lot of people are like, well, you know, it don't take all that. You know, I do this and I do. God, the Bible tells us in so many passages, God wants you hot. He said he'll spew you. Have you ever been playing so much that your body's so hot? And I remember coming in from recess as a kid, and we would run to the water fountain and be pissed off when the water was just lukewarm.
Yeah.
I'm talking, you don't burn you out there running, playing tag and red light and all the games that we used to play as kids. I know kids don't play this kind of stuff today. Touch football, throw them up, drop them up, or whatever we used to play. But you run to the water fountain expecting some cold water and it's lukewarm. It makes you want to spew it out, spit it out your mouth is how we call it, but the Bible says spew it out of your mouth. I said, boy, Ricky Bobby was on to something when he said, if you ain't first, you last. You know, and I think about that often. I said, you know, I know we take stuff sometimes and we push it a little too far, but when you really think about it, there's two groups. Those who are on fire for God, or those who don't care nothing about God, and then you have a whole lot of people in the middle. It's no secret that in school, people are concerned about, they're not concerned about the A students, because the A students go do what the A students do. Yeah. The F students, the one they try to give all the help because they want to make them better. The ones in the middle, do you know that most teachers don't remember C students? There are a lot of students who I taught, if you were a C student, B or D, chance out, I might remember you. You know, help me remember who you were. You know, I was the one, I used to be the one that act up in class. Oh yeah, I remember you now, you know. But I remember all the A students. Yeah. And I remember all the F students. But it's hard to remember because so many B, C's, and D students. That's the reason we hear the passage that the gate to hell is wide. And and full of destruction. So you think about all those things, that how easy it is to go to hell, but how narrow is the way to heaven. But Noah, yes, Noah, despite living in an evil world, the Bible says Noah was righteous. Noah was a righteous man, blameless among the people of his time, and he walked faithfully with God. Can you imagine God saying that about you? Noah was a person, the only person according to the text, that was living for God in an evil world.
Yeah.
The only person. The Bible says he was blameless among the people of his time. It also says that he walked with God. Can you imagine what it's like? God loved you so much that God let you walk with him. I remember hearing the story a lot of time how, you know, teacher tells the story how when she was in the kindergarten and Beverly was in the 7th grade and how she used to walk to school. That must have been impressive for her. I'm walking to school with a big 7th grader. You know, because 7th grader was back when elementary school, that's where it stopped at. And you're in kindergarten and, you know, you bad now. You know, you tough. You know, my auntie is a 7th grader. I get to walk to school. Noah walked with God. He said he's the only man alive that pleased God. What was it like for the rest of the people? As they looked at Noah, yeah, you know, Noah ain't nothing but old brown noser. He ain't nothing but he just, you know, just sucking up to God, you know. Can you imagine the things that was said about Noah because he walked with God? We know people like that today. You know, you see somebody who always want to pray, who always praising God. Look at our man, nothing but a holy roller, and you know, we have all these names. You know, every time you see him, they the first to pray. But let me tell you, I remember she ain't always praying. She, you know, he ain't always, you know, people will hate on people who have a great relationship with God. Noah was the only man alive that pleased God. It's hard to imagine such unwavering faithfulness in the midst of total evil. Noah had unwavering faith. Have you ever met people that as soon as you get around them, they just make you start cussing? They just, you know, you say, I told the story often. When I was working at the bank years, right after undergrad, I used to carpool with 3 friends of mine. And we would sit in the car on the way to work, and we would cuss like sailors in the car. You know, every word came out of our mouth, that MF, this, that. You know, we was just, and we were all early 20s and full of testosterone, and we had to out-cuss each other and do all this stuff. And what was so interesting was, all of us were Christian men at the time, even though we might not have knew, you know, but we all went to church and found out that we only cussed when we were around each other. We never cussed around other people. It was just the 4 of us. When we were together, we cussed a lot in the car on the way to work. So when we get out of the car and to work, we were like button up, suit and tie, and you know, you would never thought we cussed as much as we did in those cars that we would carpool to work with. And people would do that. So I can imagine Noah being in an environment full of evil, full of wickedness, and he never cussed. He always pleased God. I'm sure I wasn't pleasing God on my way to work. I'm sure I wasn't pleasing God on my way to work. I prayed that I pleased God long enough that he stayed with me so I could be where I am today.
Amen.
Amen. Yeah.
The Bible says he had unwavering faith. So Noah was, it doesn't mean he was perfect. It didn't mean that he was sinless. But he loved God with his whole heart and was fully committed to obedience.
That's it.
Noah did what God said to do. And that's the surest sign of love. Being obedient to the one you said. That's the reason obedience is in the marital vow. That's one of the best signs that you love somebody, when you're obedient to the person that is leading you. Because in a marriage, the husband and the wife, they lead each other together. So you have to obey one another as you obey God. So the Bible says that he was obedient and he was committed to his obedience to God. So Noah did what God said to do. Noah did everything just as God commanded his life of 950 years. Can you imagine living 70 years doing everything God told you to do like we do today? Noah lived 950 years doing everything God told you. But some of us can't even live 950 minutes doing everything God told us to do, let alone 950 years. He exemplified obedience. But note, Noah did what God told him. God said to build, and Noah built.
That's it.
what the Bible didn't tell us was what Noah's profession was. We didn't know Noah to be an architect. Now we know him to be the first architect, but we didn't know what Noah's line of work was. Suppose Noah was an accountant and God done told him to go and build an ark. Suppose he was a banker or a lawyer and God done told him because of his walk with him, no, I want you to build an ark. God said to Noah, I'm going to put an end to all people, for the earth is filled with violence because of them. I am surely going to destroy both them and the earth. God was mad. He said, not only going to destroy all the people, I'm going to destroy everywhere they live and everything they do. He said, I'm going to destroy them and the earth. Can you imagine? I'm going to destroy them and the earth. You build an ark for the saving of your family. So because of Noah, God allowed him to build an ark to save him and his family. And I want to stress what the word is saying as opposed to what we want to think and believe. Do you see what's about to happen? God said that I'm going to destroy both human and the earth. But I want you to build an ark saving your family. What's about to happen is God is about to re-image the earth.
Yep.
And reset it back to factory settings. Imagine. God finna destroy, and the only one know this is Noah. Now I know why computer people make so much money. A lot of them are the only ones who know how to fix the computers. If we know how to fix computers, if everybody knew how to fix computers, computer people wouldn't make that much money. But they make a lot of money because they are the only ones who know how to fix the computer when something happened to it. And when push comes to shove, they reset it to factory settings. They just re-image it. So not that just re-imaging is something small, it's a big thing, but that's what they do to make it right and make it better. So God is going to reset the earth back to factory settings. Some like to believe that it took Noah about 100 to 120 years to build this ark. Genesis 6:3 says, Then the Lord said, My spirit shall not abide in man forever, for he is flesh. His days shall be 120 years. Anybody know anybody living 120 years now? His flesh shall be 120 years. I believe Noah tried every day. Noah warned and preached to the people. Noah's words, according to the Jewish tradition, said that, Be ye turned from your evil ways and works.
That's it.
Lest the waters of the flood come upon you and cut off all the seed of the children of men. And when I got to that point, that was somewhat problematic for me. And I'm going to tell you why it's problematic. God told Noah to build, but Noah also decided to warn the people. Isn't that what love would do for people sometimes? You know, not that Noah was disobedient. God told Noah to build. God told Noah what he's getting ready to do. I'm getting ready to destroy all humankind and all of the earth. Noah was trying to help them out. Just like computer people. Stop putting these viruses on your computer. Stop going to these different sites that you don't need to be going to. Stop adding, downloading all these apps on your phone. Stop doing, God told Noah what was getting ready to happen. And just like computer people, all right, keep on, you have to get you a new one. They ain't gonna be able to refix this no more. It's gonna cost you a whole. God told Noah, I'm gonna destroy the world. I want you to build an ark to save you and your family. He didn't say your neighbor. He didn't say save your co-workers. Now, see, again, that's some of our problems.
Yeah.
We're trying to save everybody who God didn't tell you to try to save.
Yeah.
And you all know why you get so destroyed at work. Let God deal with them. God said you and your family. If everybody just worried about them and their family, they don't have to worry about co-workers because all the co-workers are going to be saved and full of righteousness because each person was concerned about them and their family. The problem is people are not concerned about themselves and their families. So you got some cousins and aunts and uncles and brothers who are all hell at work because somebody wasn't concerned about them, trying to save them and get them on the ark. Noah loved God with his whole heart and was fully committed to obedience, and his life revealed those qualities, patience and persistence, and his faithfulness to God. Don't let no co-worker send you to hell. Don't let your neighbors, you have to be concerned about your relationship with God and your family relationship with God. Because of how Noah lived, his family got saved. Because of how Noah lived, his family got saved. And Noah, he failed at some things. Because we realize now, he wasn't a good preacher. Because he couldn't save all those other people that he was trying to save.
Yeah.
I'm amazed that he built an ark, and God told him to build an ark and not a church. I think that's the problem we have right now. Too many people trying to build churches and not build arks. Because see, an ark was able to save them.
Yes.
The church wasn't saving back then. God could have easily probably sent Jesus and saved him back then. But according to our text, he said build an ark. Something that had never been done before, because something was getting ready to happen that had never happened before. Every day, Noah was trying to tell the people, just like some of y'all, you try to tell your family, you try to tell your friends what they need to do to get right with God. Noah tried. He tried and he tried. His family saw his daddy. His family saw their daddy trying to live right, trying to be faithful. With next door neighbors who are always cussing, next door neighbor always doing stuff, co-workers always doing stuff, family, but they saw their daddy trying to be right. I think it's interesting going back to how people always want to bring up certain things. In Genesis 9, the Bible tells us he became drunk and passed out in his tent, making himself an embarrassment to his son. And notice it said he made himself an embarrassment to his sons, but not to God. He made himself an embarrassment to his sons, but not to God. See, a lot of times it might be an embarrassment to our families, but God is still pleased with us because God knows our heart and we're committed to God through obedience. But let me share a little light on this. They said Noah was an embarrassment because he drank some wine and he got drunk. This happened in chapter 9. But let's go back a little bit and see what might have caused that to happen. And this is me. If God don't call me out because of my relationship with him, told me to build an ark because he's been destroy all humankind and all the earth, and he allowed me to do that, something I've never done before, and if it took actually 100-some years like they said it did, and if he had to get all these animals on the boat along with his family, and they had to survive on that boat amongst all the animal stench and all the stuff the animals do in an enclosed area for all that time. And then finally, when God allows the door of that ark to open and you're able to walk out on dry ground and you start living, I can only imagine. You mean tell me we the only persons on earth now? Can you imagine what type of stress that might have been for Noah? Noah might not have had tequila back then, or he might not have had something stronger, but wine might not have been enough for him back then. Wine might not have been enough for me. Can you imagine all of a sudden you wake up tomorrow morning and your family is the only family living on earth?